New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
For years, you've paid for Social Security. Now it's time to use it. But do you know the basics of Social Security? And you'll find out today on Job Chat. I'm Hector Silva, I'm your host, and our guest today is Robin Brewton. Robin currently serves as the Vice President of Operations and Administration for Social Security Solutions, Inc. In addition, she manages human resources, marketing communications, and public relations. Robin spent more than 20 years in human resources roles, the last 12 of which were in senior leadership roles with companies such as Wells Fargo Bank, Cox Communication, and Time Warner. Her expertise is in organizational development, leadership development, and succession planning. Robin has been with Social Security Solutions, Inc. since its inception. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you, Hector. It's great to be here.
Simple, broad question. What is the first thing we need to know about Social Security?
Well, that is a broad question to start out with. And as I listened to you read my bio, it dawned on me Social Security expert is nowhere in there. But that's what I have really come to be over the last few years. And it's been a delightful place to be simply because I get to visit with Americans who are confused about Social Security. It's really complicated. There are thousands and thousands of rules that are complex. So if you ask me, about the important things that people need to know about Social Security, it's first and foremost to do their research, run the numbers, because those rules can be used in combination with each other to get people more out of the system. I think what most people who claim Social Security know is I can claim at 62, I can claim at 66, I can claim at 70, and the longer I wait, I'll get more money. But what they don't realize is that there are ways to optimize and maximize their benefits that we can help them with.
Now, I heard you use the word numbers. How are the numbers determined? And is there a way that you personally can go in and try to figure out those numbers yourself?
Your Social Security benefits are based on your highest 35 years of earnings. Social Security collects a percentage of your paycheck, every paycheck, up until you reach a salary cap each year. For those who are highly paid, the salary cap's about $110,000 right now. So when it's time for you to claim Social Security benefits, they look at all of your years of earnings. They do index your earnings prior to age 60 to account for inflation among wage growth over history, but they're looking at those highest 35 years of earnings. So for folks, and I know you have some number of audience members who have been unemployed for a while, the best thing that you can do to impact your benefits is to stay employed. And I know that's not, it's usually not your choice to be unemployed, but sometimes it makes more sense to have a part-time job or even a job that isn't your ideal career choice, just so that you continue to pay those Social Security earnings and have that benefit available to you.
So it's better to have even a small amount rather than zero.
Yes, because if you don't have 35 years of earnings, the Social Security Administration does average in a zero for those years that you don't earn anything.
Okay. And once you do hear from Social Security how much they're going to give you, do you just accept that, or is it good to also go back and do your own research on your earnings record and see if this agrees with what you think you should get?
It is always a good idea to check their records. Many of your viewers will remember receiving over the course of their working careers what's called a Social Security statement. People would receive those, workers, all American workers would receive those every year right around their birthday. Due to budget cuts. The Social Security Administration stopped sending those out a couple of years ago. But what your viewers will remember is as they looked at those Social Security statements, there would be an earnings history from the very first year that they paid any money into Social Security. I can tell you from my experience that they're not always right. And once you get to that point that you're ready to claim your benefits, it's much more difficult to get that corrected because you're going to have to go back to prior employers, get some tax information from those employers and submit that to Social Security. So it's a lot easier to do that as you go through your career. Now, people are no longer getting those Social Security statements, but you can now go online and get those. You can go to www.ssa.gov/my-statement and get an online Social Security statement so you can look at your earnings history.
Fantastic. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that the government could be wrong, but I've heard the term delayed retirement credits. What does that mean?
Your benefits, remember I said your benefits are determined based on your highest 35 years of earnings. When they calculate those, they determine what is called your primary insurance amount. It's also called your full retirement benefit, and it's the amount of money you will get every month if you claim your benefits at exactly your full retirement age. And for Americans, most baby boomers who are close to retirement, their full retirement age is 66. That full retirement age does increase over time, and it's based on your year of birth. Delayed retirement credits are added benefits that a consumer can collect if they wait until after full retirement age to start claiming benefits. So if I wait beyond age 66 to start my retirement benefits, I get an extra 2/3% per month for every month I wait to claim my benefits. Now, that's 8% per year, or if I wait all the way until age 70 to claim my benefits, that's an extra 32% more per month that I will get because of those delayed retirement credits.
So if there's any way to delay it, you're better off for it.
In most circumstances, it does pay to delay. There are some circumstances with married people where spousal benefits come into play, and you may want to look at claiming a spousal benefit before age 70. But for a number of people, it pays to wait.
The spousal benefits would be for the spouse that's not getting Social Security, or how does that work?
If you are married, you are eligible for a spousal benefit based on the other worker's earnings record. So may I use you as an example?
Please.
If you are collecting Social Security benefits based on your own earnings record, your own retirement benefit, your wife can collect a spousal benefit based on your record. You have to either be collecting your benefit, or you could have done what's called file and suspend, and we'll talk about that strategy later. But for her to be eligible for a spousal benefit, you either have to be receiving yours or have filed and suspended. That makes her eligible to collect up to 50% of your full retirement benefit or your primary insurance amount. Now, there are some rules around it, and in order for her, if she's eligible for her own retirement benefit, some additional rules also come into play. But she can collect up to 50% of your full retirement benefit as a spouse.
Okay. So she can be collecting while you are not, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, if you have filed and suspended, which you can do at your full retirement age, that will make your spouse eligible to collect the spousal benefit, but because you suspend your benefits, yours continue to grow those delayed retirement credits we just talked about.
So if you did that application and suspension when you were 62...
And you can't. You have to be full retirement age in order to suspend.
So
to
there's
file
no
and
way
suspend.
that the spouse can pick up any benefits until you reach that full retirement age.
The two criteria for the spouse to be eligible for spousal benefits is you have to have filed and started your benefits or filed and suspended. So if you file for your benefits at 62, your spouse, as long as she is 62, is eligible to collect the spousal benefit.
While you're waiting.
Well, if you've filed at 62, you have to be receiving it. You can't suspend and wait unless
until you're
you are full retirement age. See how complicated the rules get?
Yes.
And they're difficult for me as what I would consider, an expert to explain. So imagine the American consumer trying to sort through all of this and make sense of it. Regularly, consumers call into the Social Security Administration looking for advice about benefits. And Social Security agents, while they are doing their dead level best, they are prohibited by policy from giving advice. They can answer some of your questions, and you don't always get accurate answers, but they cannot give you advice.
Mm-hmm. They could just read you what the law is.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you may not be getting optimum benefits based on what they've read to you. And that's where you need someone that has the full range of being able to determine on an individual basis. Because I imagine it does change individual to individual.
It does. And it's based on a number of combinations of factors. The best strategy, particularly for a married couple, will depend on their relative ages, their relative benefit amounts, their life expectancies as best they can predict that. And those are not factors that the Social Security Administration can help you with at all.
If someone is receiving spousal benefits and the spouse passes away, what happens at that point?
Survivor benefits are very complicated. That is from my perspective, the most complicated piece of Social Security benefits. So I can answer in a number of ways. The big answer is, so it depends. It depends on whether or not the deceased had started benefits and whether or not he was before full retirement age when he or she started benefits. And it depends on when the survivor begins benefits. But for the sake of just sharing some information with the audience, let's assume that the decedent had started benefits. He had started after his full retirement age, and the survivor is waiting until her full retirement age for widows, which may be different from her full retirement age for her own retirement benefit. But she's waiting until after her full retirement age for widows to begin benefits. Assuming those factors are correct, the widow will collect the higher of the two benefits. So when one Social Security recipient passes away, only one benefit continues to get paid out, and it will be the higher of the two benefits.
Okay. There is one other category I was going to ask you about. We've talked about the married, and we've talked about the divorce. Mm-hmm. We talked about the passing away, but how about divorced?
So I'd like to share a little story with you, if I could.
Please.
And I don't mean for this to sound insensitive, but it's one of my favorite stories of the hundreds of clients I've worked with. And the woman's name is Debbie. She lives in Florida. She found our services online. We do have an online model, and she needed some help with her Social Security. She called in to speak with one of our advisor experts, and she said she was a single woman. I happened to be the one who took the call that day. I visited with Debbie, and she was just delightful. She shared with me that she was getting ready to retire, was going to file for her Social Security benefits. She had gotten her primary insurance amount, her full retirement benefit, and it was going to be a little over $900 a month. In talking with Debbie, I don't know why I began to ask some questions, but I just said, Debbie, you're such a pleasant person, and you've never been married. And she said, well, yes, I was married, but I've been divorced for many, many years. And I asked, how long were you married? Were you married at least 10 years? And she said, oh, yeah. I said, well, Debbie, I have good news. If your ex-husband made more money than you, and if half of his primary insurance amount would be more than your current retirement benefit, you're eligible for an additional amount of money. And Debbie said, oh, well, that won't do me any good anyway. He's passed away. To which I began to laugh and shared with her that she was eligible for what's called a surviving divorced spouse benefit. So the moral of the story is, divorced individuals are not only perhaps eligible for what's called a divorced spouse benefit, which would be the same as a spousal benefit, up to 50% of their ex-spouse's primary insurance amount, but also when the ex-spouse passes away, they may be entitled to what's called a surviving divorced spouse benefit, which would be equal to whatever that person's current spouse would get. So there are numerous opportunities for divorced individuals to claim additional benefits.
And again, they would have to be married for
at least 10 years.
At least 10 years. So anytime, even if it's one day less than 10 years.
You miss out.
You
miss out. Yes. You must have been married at least 10 years. You also have to have been divorced at least 2 years, unless the ex-spouse is currently collecting benefits or is eligible to collect benefits. So again, lots of rules come into play, but it's worth taking a look at.
I know this is probably the most basic, but I imagine, do you have to be a citizen to receive Social Security?
Not necessarily. If you have been employed and you have paid Social Security taxes, you are eligible to collect Social Security, assuming you meet other requirements as far as the number of quarters that you have worked and contributed to Social Security. So it's not necessary to be a citizen.
So you could be here on a work visa over a period of time and accumulate enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a number of other countries who also have reciprocal agreements with us to simplify the collection process for those who are here for a temporary time.
That's interesting. I had never heard that before.
There's a lot.
Well, I haven't heard a lot of what you've been saying. There was one other thing that I had also heard, earnings test work. What do you have anything about that?
The earnings test is another very complicated rule that people need to understand. If you have not reached your full retirement age, you will be subject to the earnings test, which means if you collect your Social Security benefits and have earned income, your certain benefits will be withheld. You can collect Social Security benefits and earn up to $14,640 this year. That's the 2012 amount. It does go up a little bit every year. But you can earn up to $14,640 before the earnings test applies. After that threshold, for every $2 over that threshold you earn, Social Security will withhold $1 in your benefits. So over the threshold, they'll withhold half of your benefits. So you don't have to make a lot of money in order to see a substantial reduction in your benefits.
And again, it becomes an individual decision whether that money you're getting from the employment is worth more than what you would be losing from.
Yes.
Okay. And if you reach the age of 65 or whatever your full retirement age is, does it still apply?
It does not. In fact, in the calendar year that you turn your full retirement age, so let's assume your birthday is in October, beginning in January of that year when you reach your full retirement age, you can actually earn a little over $38,000, and they'll only take away $1 in benefits for every $3 over the $38,000 that you earn. Once you reach your full retirement age, the earnings test no longer applies. You can earn as much as you would like to earn without the reduction in benefits due to the earnings test. Also, at your full retirement age, the Social Security Administration recalculates your benefits and gives you what's called an adjustment factor for the reduction. So in other words, for the months that you collected zero benefits due to earnings, you will get some credits added to your benefit amount. So you don't completely lose the benefit. It's not really a dollar for dollar replacement, and it takes a lot of years to make up for the reduction in benefits, but you do get credit back for that.
Taxes. Are all of these benefits, any of these benefits, a part of these benefits, taxable?
I get this question a lot, and people will say, well, Social Security is already a tax. What do you mean I'm going to get taxed on it? And yes, you are going to get taxed on it unless Social Security benefits are your only income. If you have other income, and it's earned income, income from a 401k, an IRA, pension income, interest income, any kind of income that goes into what's called your modified adjusted gross income, then you will be taxed on your Social Security benefits. How much of your benefits are taxed depends on a reasonably complicated formula, but basically either 50% of the benefits you receive or 85% of the benefits you receive will be taxable. And again, it's based on your modified adjusted gross income.
So again, decisions have to be made.
They do. And the taxes on them can get complicated.
It seems to me that it'd be very good to have someone to hold your hand during this journey, because there are a lot of different decisions that we've talked about that have to be made along the line. And all of them have ramifications.
They do. Once you begin your benefits, under very few circumstances can you change your mind. So it's critical that you get this right. And most Americans, in my opinion, don't realize the cumulative value of their benefits. They may be thinking, I'm going to get $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a month, but they're not thinking that if I combine that with my spouse, I'm looking at a joint cumulative benefit in a lot of cases of over $1 million. It's complicated and you need help.
If there was one major piece of advice as far as the basics that you would give anybody, what would that be?
I think it would be, do not claim benefits early without running your numbers, without doing your homework, without getting some help with this, because you may have other options that you're not aware of that in the long run will make more sense.
Well, Robin, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Thank you for sharing so much good advice. If somebody wanted some more information or some more advice, where could they reach you?
They can reach us in a couple of ways. We have a website, www.socialsecuritysolutions.com. It's filled with education. Even if you don't want to purchase access to us and our advice, we have some great help tabs and lots of information there. Or we can be reached at 866-762-7526, and the extension is 20.
And that can be from anywhere in the country.
Absolutely, anywhere.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You can hear more advice and information from Robin on other podcasts, or you can hear from other experts that we have on other podcasts on www.newlandings.org, or you can go to YouTube and put in Job Chat. Until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.